Hello and welcome to episode 138 of the HamCorp Training Manual. In this episode, we finish the Mark V Compact Fusion Reactor, upgrade the advanced assembly lines to UMV for UMV wireless hatches, and finally decide that enough is enough. The Mega Factory is a Yon base in a box, and that is unacceptable. So, we build another factory extension to move and scale up existing infrastructure, but this time everything will be well decorated. Nice, this should make things a lot easier. Of course, the first thing to upgrade, always, is the assembler. Currently, this is UIV. The recipe tier is locked to the energy hatch tier or below, of course. So to make more UMV energy hatches, or specifically, to make the UMV laser hatches, I need a UMV assembler. So I'm going to make my first laser target and source hatches with the LSAA, and then I can upgrade this, and then we can take off. I'm also going to quickly make the thermosync radiator. This is an add-on for the PCB factory that upgrades the overclocking from normal overclocking to perfect overclocking. And perfect overclocking is, of course, significantly better. The only thing new here is the infinity cooled casing. And this is very easy to make. It's just Hypogen frame boxes, molten spacetime, some thulium, some infinity. Really simple. All right, this is much faster. Much faster. Crafting has continued. I am now facing a new bottleneck. That is my autoclave. Can you believe I still only have one autoclave? Yep. It's using eternal coils, so it's pretty fast. Like, it's decent, but it's not great. This is a pretty bulky multi-block as well, so it's going to be hard to fit in 64 of these in here. I don't even know if I'm going to make 64, really. Well, I don't know, maybe I should. But there's not really any space in this building to do that. I could get rid of this extreme heat exchanger. Honestly, I think I will. Because the dense supercritical steam was a cute idea, but I just never got around to actually burning it or sending it through turbines. And at this point, I don't think I will, because Dysons are so easy to make. So this is kind of pointless. I might just vacuum freeze the plasma to get the molten metals instead, or alloys. But even if I get rid of that, I'm not going to be able to fit that many autoclaves here. Let's see. Yeah, I can see myself fitting like 2, maybe 4 in like a square, and then another 4 on top. And then I could stack them, I guess. But, you know, So I guess it is time for yet another expansion. Now, this building was going to be just for the DTPFs and the QFTs. And based on how fast the DTPF seems to be, I think that is pretty well justified. And honestly, this building is basically a lawn base, and I don't like it. So I might redo the machine shelf. And I might also stop trying to wall share the machine shelf, because it makes it much harder to configure these things, especially if I want to add a new crafting input bus or buffer. It's horrendous. I mean, I have the Ring of Loki now, which makes it quite a bit easier, but even still. And this is ugly. I won't deny it. I've just kind of put the machines here. It looks sort of cool in a way, in like a technical way, I guess. Like, this looks like, what's that term for Star Wars, where it's like greebling or glebing or something like that, where it's like you add a bunch of just random bits and bobs to make something look more technical. That's what this feels like, and that's not really what I'm going for. So I think one more expansion is coming up, and once I have that structure built, I'm going to start moving some stuff over. Mostly anything that is being spammed that is not a mega multi-block was going to be moved. So like the mega blast furnace is going to stay, the mega DT is going to stay, but these things are going to get moved. And I'm going to try and find a way to incorporate them into the build so that it looks nice, but it's also scalable. And that's going to be sort of challenging, but I'll see what I can come up with. Well, new building's in place. I decided not to stream it. It is an exact copy of the DTPF building, except that it has one more window, whatever this is. And That's cool and all, but it's a little boring. I don't want to just repeat these blocks. So I'm gonna try and do something interesting with this by trying to incorporate the different multi-blocks into the walls or something like that, or having like a catwalk, and then I don't know. I'll figure something out. Anyway, a new bottleneck discovered. Not one that is totally unexpected, but fluid shaper. 2 hypogen per second times 2 is not great. Not only that, I know that the Forge of the Gods is going to give me tons and tons of molten metal or molten materials. So I'm going to need many, many, many more fluid shapers. So that is a second thing on my list of multis that I want to massively expand. Compact is sort of close to done, actually. It is just a matter of getting this hypogen done at this point. So yeah, I also need to make UMV glass so I can upgrade this and then use UMV energy hatches. But that's another problem. The UMV glass, by the way, uses transcendent metal. But the problem is, both my fluid shapers are currently locked up in making hypogen, and I need a fluid shaper to make new glass. And the way I've set up the input buses and hatches here, even if I put in the materials, it's still going to continue doing hypogen. I could move things around, I guess. Okay, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to make more fluid shapers, I'm going to make more autoclaves, and I'm going to see how to fit things into this building and also how to make it look a little more unique. But before any of that, the Mark V Compact Fusion is finally done. This took so long. I spent so much time AFK. It was kind of awesome. It's like I get to take a break while playing the game. Oh, that feels so good. Oh my god. This took so long. Now this should be a significant upgrade. Oh, also, because I'm in UMV and I have Shirobon, I was able to make these wireless 4 amp UIV energy hatches. So this is basically complete forever. I don't really have to touch this multi ever again. So if I want, I could do a little bit of additional decorating. For now, I'm going to leave it as is. Now, I'm also crafting up 100 UMV wireless energy hatches just for random stuff around the base. And there's a lot of fusion going on. And this is the perfect time to check out the new fusion reactor. So right now, I make 15,000 oganescent per second. And if I link this one, I'm up to 92,000 oganescent per second. That's really good. And I can also, you know what, I should actually probably cancel the craft and update my recipes to use the highest tier recipe. Yeah, okay, I'll figure that out. One of many, many Mark V compacts. Well, for now it's one of one, but in the future I'm sure I'm going to need a lot of compacts. Now, Molten Crayon and Molten Melian. I've already talked about what goes into these things in the last episode. I'm going to get started on making this, and once that's done, I can start working on Project Godforge. But first, I need to beef up this infrastructure. So I'm going to spend quite a bit of time making UMV energy hatches, or wireless UMV energy hatches. And I'm going to upgrade my infra so that I can make those more easily. And that's going to be my benchmark for getting started with the Godforge. If I can make more hatches easily, then I'm ready to start progressing towards the Godforge. And also, I didn't notice this before, but I think the wireless energy hatches don't go past 256. I think 64 amps is the most, so anything that needs lasers is still going to physically need a laser. So I'm also going to put down a new LSC here just for the advanced assembly lines, and I'm probably going to make a few more. And I'm going to beef these things up big time, because pico circuits and quantum circuits are extremely painful right now. I don't even know where to get started. You know what? I'm going to whip out the old clipboard. I'm going to do quite a bit of base cleanup to get started. First of all, I want to turn off the Tesla. I still use it here and there, but we voted on it in the HamCorp Discord, and we've decided that the Tesla will be decommissioned, but will not be deconstructed. So it's going to stay here as a relic, because it's so iconic. Fucking blue lightning constantly everywhere, just burning my eyeballs. That's pretty good. Another thing we voted on is what to do with all of these processing lines that are now made pointless by the existence of the QFT. And we decided that we will leave them all in place as a testament to what it took to get to this point. And I kind of like that. I'm going to leave most of them in place, but I've decided to make the executive decision to remove the ones in the chem building There's a lot I could do with the space, and these lines are not particularly interesting or pretty. It's not like the plat line or the monazite line. Those are going to stay forever, I think, but I'm just going to stop using them. And instead, everything will come from the QFT. First things first. Before I can get rid of all the Tesla covers around the base, I need to get some other kind of wireless power, and that's what I'm going to work on right now. So the wireless energy hatches, the UMV ones, are going to be my baseline, I think, for the rest of the game. Even though there are UXV later on, I think UMV is going to be the majority of it. That said, crafting them requires quantum circuits, which in turn require picocircuits, and it takes a long time to make both of those things. So, step 1, priority 1, I haven't even done the clipboard yet, that's how high of a priority this is to replace all of these laser hatches with UMV laser hatches, and then I can make these quantum circuits in a human lifespan. However, I don't want to upgrade all the lasers that go all the way here to this active transformer and then everywhere else that it splits off. So instead, I've crafted another... Oh, I guess I never did the quest. I've crafted another UEV capacitor, which gives me up to 1 trillion EU per tick to use around here. The 256 amp UMV lasers are 34 billion each, and I have 8 of them. So I have a bit of space to upgrade to make more assembly lines with this one UEV capacitor. So I'm going to clean up the spaghetti here, try to make this a bit more organized, and then I'll get the clipboard together. Alright, this looks a lot more tidy to me, but I think it's going to stop looking tidy as soon as I add more advanced assembly lines. But that's just how it is, I guess. I've gotten rid of the laser connection, so I kind of want to stack a bunch of data banks just vertically here. And just because like I have a separate data bank over here that's still wired, and the scans that are in here are only accessible to these assembly lines at the moment, which is kind of silly, I guess. I feel like it's better to just have an array of data banks and all of them transmit their data to the cloud. And then any assembly line anywhere can just take from that. I feel like that's just better design. But anyway, I've made a checklist of things that I want. I want to upgrade coils to eternal everywhere, basically. Except for like LCRs, I guess. I'm not that rich. I want to upgrade my multi-spam to UMV. Multi-spam being the machines that don't have mega versions. Those will be upgraded to UMV using the wireless hatches. And I'd also like to move them to the new hall. I want to combine databanks, like I mentioned. I want to upgrade my beamline. Believe it or not, my beamline synchrotrons are all still running at 1024 amps of ZPM. So making the crystal socks is still kind of slow, but it's never been the bottleneck. But I'm sure it will be at some point. So I want to do that. I need to finish my second DTPF, and I'd like to make more compact 5s. Now that the AALs are running at UMV, things should progress much faster, especially the pico circuits. They're no longer going to take 500 seconds each. It's more like 2 minutes each. All right, I have a lot of work to do and a lot of crafting, which means a lot of waiting, and there's not much I can do in the meantime because I really need the wireless energy hatches to do anything. So I'll be back in a bit. All right, now begins an infrastructure arc, the likes of which I have never seen before. 32 autoclaves. They're all wireless. They're all crafting input proxied. There's a wireless connection for E2. It's all eternal coils. It's all black plutonium casings. It's all tungsten steel casings. This is like maxed out. Now, I did say before, I don't want to just lawn base these machines anymore, so I'm gonna try and decorate this. And I think neonite looks pretty nice with the eternal coils. Oh yeah, nice and decorated. I like this a lot. It's easy for me to modify things because the energy hatch is up here. The input buffer and proxy is up here. And if I need to go turn things on because of power fail or whatever, the inside is hollow, so I can walk around and turn things on. And also this is where the outputs go to this wireless connector. Pretty cool if I do say so myself. Now there's also 4 quadrants here. And I'm gonna put fluid shapers in this one and see if I can fit all 64 in here, but we'll see. And then I'll figure out decoration as well. Fluid solidifiers are also done. I didn't realize this before, but you can kind of wall share these without having to flip the fluid shaper. This top layer of solidifier casings can be the bottom layer of the next shaper. So I made a bunch of stacks of these. I think there's 64 fluid shapers here in total. They're all running at UMV. I didn't fully finish off the decoration because I think I'm gonna need to expand these, but I think this will last quite a while. Or, you know, I could finish the decoration and then just make a new apartment building over here. Looks pretty cool, right? I think so. And once again, everything in the middle is still accessible. But to be honest, it doesn't really need to be, because I can use the Ring of Loki to kind of remote reach controller blocks. But anyway, this should be much faster fluid solidification now. So I'm seriously loving how the autoclaves look. This looks so cool. This is so much better than the machine shelf. Well, on to the next multis. I've torn down the old ore processing, the original ore processing, and I've connected the two buildings by removing the wall. And honestly, I'm gonna clean up this whole setup as well, because I don't need these lasers because I have wireless hatches now, so I could make this much cleaner, and I will. But first, I noticed that I had millions and millions of unprocessed dust that had no use except, you know, to be electrolyzed or centrifuged. So I made 64 UMV centrifuges, actually UIV, and 64 UIV electrolyzers. And I've also gone through the effort of going through all the dusts I have and partitioning them, and also making sure that dusts, when they're produced, get sent into this subnet or this subnet as appropriate. And I'm voiding all fluids. So because I have space pumping, I don't really see the point in storing, you know, 10 trillion oxygen from here when I can just pump it instead. So just to keep things simple, I've decided to void all fluids, and all the dusts get sent back into the OreProc subnet, which is the blue subnet. So all the final dusts get stored in here as usual, and all the useless dusts that need to be processed further get sent into their appropriate machine. And I kind of like how this looks from the sky. This is pretty cool. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will continue the infrastructure scaling and craft the UMV component assembly line. We will also start on the many materials required for the Godforge. Also, the Fluid Shaper apartment building is available to rent for any employees who need housing. Each allotment is a grand 2 cubic meters for you to use in any way, but you may not tamper with the walls, floor, or roof.